Welcome to a fine gaming experience, everyone. Bricks here. I have a automated machine with the voice of ice for my co-host today.
Haha! What a great attack. I like that weapon.
Yes, we've programmed you well today, so I hope no one can tell the difference.
Great sword.
Just look at that nice view of spiders through the sun.
Those are some big spiders. Oh, wow. Yeah, the AI has gained sentience. I apologize.
It's all good. Fiona's been working really hard here, though. We've taken down 2 Elder Dragons out of these 3, so I think maybe she deserves a little bit of a break, and it's time we called in a ringer for her.
Okay.
This is a special thing here. I had to do a whole bunch of fights in the arena challenges, but we got specialty armor. Good old Sakura from Street Fighter V.
Love that it's her school uniform with the little scarf and everything.
It's not a bad set either. Like, it's got some interesting stuff on it, and this is a full armor set, so we have to wear all these pieces. We can't mix and match any of this stuff.
The nice thing about it, though, poison duration up means it's fun with a lot of early weapons. Also good against some bosses, believe it or not.
I have Ice Attack Jewel on right now, but you can see the stats you get from the set. Not too shabby, but we're going to go for the harder hitter today and bring in Ryu. And these are separate tickets for Sakura and Ryu. For Sakura, I just had to take on some pink Rathians. Ryu, I had to do challenges against Nergigante.
Oof. And probably one of the most incredible things about this set is it's actually got, I think, Critical Element Mind's Eye Ballistics. It's actually one of the endgame sets that you're actually getting abilities off of.
It's a high-end Rathian set, pretty much, and we gotta get a new weapon going here as well.
One of my favorites.
The good old Sword and Shield.
And there have been some definite improvements since Iceborne on Sword and Shield. Some really cool new stuff.
I have to say, I really like the changes to the Sword and Shield. It was one of the earlier weapons I tried out. I liked it, did some nice damage, had a good roundness to it, but these changes are boss.
One of the most significant things to remember with the Sword and Shield is slinger use is now something that everybody can do come Iceborne. They've actually made sure every character can use the slinger, has special abilities with the slinger. So they can't really just leave Sword and Shield alone because its whole thing was slinger use when you even had it out. So they've had to do some drastic changes to it and have enhanced the weapon in a lot of ways and had some really cool new abilities. By the way, that is the exact sword that I used to take on this very specific monster we're going to fight.
I was very tempted here, you know, we can do all the different colors. I wanted to give him the Dan set, but it doesn't quite look right. So I stick with the typical white gi on him, but I forgot to change the gloves. I'll fix that next time.
That is really white.
It's like radioactive in the sunlight.
You are exuding god rays from your body at this point in time.
I'm actually kind of impressed with this model, because for cutscenes and whatnot, he actually has a lot of emotions and such. We'll see.
What?
Oh, actually, I realized they probably just copied a lot of stuff over. The Monster Hunter games, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong on this, anybody else who may know, are built on the Resident Evil engine. And actually, the RE engine builds a lot of their video games, especially a lot of their action games. So because they use a lot of the same modeling, I'm almost assuming that the same modeling software they use in this game is the same modeling software they use in Street Fighter.
A Teostra?
I wouldn't be surprised. If nothing else, it's the same company. It's pretty easy for them to change over their assets. They've done it so many times. Just how many versions of Mega Man have we seen out there?
Quite a few.
But this is one of our favorite beasties here. I quite like it.
Hey, partner.
I can't even count how many times you and I have fought this guy. But we got a big challenge here. Lots of money from this. How many times do you think I'm going to die?
This is a monster that, if you are aggressive enough, it's actually a pretty easy fight, and Sword and Shield's very mobile, so I'm going to say you actually get this without more than one.
Teostra, you or me? I like a good competition.
It would be a competition if you actually did something. I love how many times they're like, don't worry, we're going to get help, and nothing happens.
So, those of you who are fans of Critical Role or voice acting in general, you might notice the voice of the Huntsman is somewhat familiar. It's actually the voice of Matt Mercer, and he plays two characters in this game. Sometimes he plays those two characters talking to each other, but he's a very good voice actor, but if you know his voice, you can kind of pick it out. He plays the field team leader, and he plays the Huntsman, actually. One is talking like this behind a mask the whole time.
You can't tell it's me if I just talk like Batman the whole time.
It's really, Batman. More of a Bane impression.
Batman!
Wow. Everyone's getting a treat today.
Yeah, I'm sure I just lost a couple subscribers right there. I love this area, though. This is like a special nest just for Toaster.
I was going to say, one thing I love about this is how intense your eyebrows are.
I'm walking barefoot through this lava corridor, I would point out. Like,
this man fights demons. He's fine.
He throws fireballs from his hands. He can walk on fire. Nice little intro for him, though. And Toaster is both a fire and blast elemental creature. He's pretty interesting, as we'll see. He has a lot of fire breaths. He'll put out clouds like you would see from the insect glaive. And he can trigger those himself. Want some candy?
I just love this cutscene. He's a very noble monster. In fact, he's one of the few elders that will not attack you unless you attack them first. Outside of, I believe, this cutscene, I think they start aggressive.
Go! Fight till the last fire inside you goes out.
Well, we would barge into his house and just stare at him for a good minute or two.
Now, a couple things about his body. He's actually very weak in the tail, and his head is extremely weak. He's also one of the few monsters that's very weak to elemental damage, especially any of the fire attacks, or sorry, any of the ice attacks or water attacks on your weapons. They just do a ton of damage.
Now, if you paid attention to the opening move I did there, it's one of the new moves they gave Sword and Shield. You'll charge back for a second or do your new Slinger Burst move, and then go into a long, slow triple stab. The thing with this move is it's timing based. You can't just button mash. If you do, you'll do very little damage. If your timing is right, though, it can be the most devastating move, and you even do a grapple attack at the end.
Mm-hmm. And those of you who are fighting game fans, it's very important that you're playing Ryu here, but those of you who are fighting game fans will know that this is very much a fighting game thing, more of an SNK thing, I think, than Street Fighter. But they're called just inputs. If you press them just at the right time, it changes your combo. You press it a little too early, a little too late, you don't get the big attack boost.
Another reason I took Ryu for this is one of the new moves. While you're attacking, you can dodge roll to the side and press L2. And you'll do what people call the claw Yukin, right there, where you do a Shoryuken claw attack, grapple on, and can either throw your slingers or do a weakening attack.
That's amazing. I actually don't even have this set, so this is pretty impressive.
The one thing I don't show off very much is the Slinger Burst, and all that really does is let you fire off an array of slingers at once. It's handy and useful, but I'd rather be doing consistent damage with my attacks. It is a good opener for the new triple hit combo, but the timing on it is a little bit more precise.
Now, the skills you're actually getting off him right now are to be sold in a store, I believe, the lustrous ones.
Yes, they are. I put the Plunder Blade on our Mega Man friend there, and the new ability it gets from Iceborne is the Mount and Plunder. Just like you can grapple on, your Palico will do the same thing, start stabbing the beast repeatedly and dropping items for you to sell.
Oh, he's doing a lot of his big attacks here. There's a lot going on with Teostra, and one thing I do want to point out is it's not all him. His arena also explodes. He's actually a little bit easier to... Oh, here we go, the Supernova. Now, that attack right there, if he had let that go off, you can just input time it if you've got a good blocking skill and just, boom, go ahead and do the charge blade block or a lance block with the enhanced guard up skill. But otherwise, you just need to get out of the way or it will destroy you. It can sometimes kill you instantly.
It is very painful. I will get hit by it once later on, sadly, and we'll see how much damage it does. But that Supernova, as you saw, can be... Oof. As you saw, that Supernova can be countered quite easily with a flash. And Toaster's pretty vulnerable to flash pods in this state. At least this difficulty.
Flash pods aren't basically anti-air perfection when you get to the next expansion, when you actually get to play in Iceborne. Most of the monsters in Iceborne just don't even care about flash pods. They're nice to blind them if you want to get in some extra hits. Makes the monster a little less predictable, but if you have a very aggressive monster, it's better to 50% of the time attacking you and 50% of the time it not attacking you is a good thing. Especially good for ranged users. But don't get addicted to flash pods is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I would say flash pods were too easy to use in the original mode.
Mm-hmm.
I almost want to say they're too hard in Master Mode when we get to that, but that's another story.
Now, of course, the Sword and Shield has a total of 4 different moves you can actually do out of that charge back ability. So you'll be seeing a lot of that, but that's basically your main offense. That's how you get your diving shield smash. That's how you get your diving slash for a straight up mount. You can also do a diving straight slash, which is probably the worst ability. And then you've got the new multi-hit combo you can do with the just timing inputs. There's a lot of stuff that comes out of that one move.
And even the backstep dodge can save your butt a lot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there are some additional iframes with that. I actually think it counts as an actual dodge. So even an enemy, as long as they're not doing like a straight charge through you, like someone like a one of the bird, like Rathalos charges, one of those wyvern charges, or the Diablos charge, you can usually dodge out of the way of most things.
It's one of the reasons I like the Sword and Shield too. It's very quick for putting away the weapon and drawing it out into an attack. Compared to our last weapon, this one is just so much more quick and efficient, I find. Like, you can still do burst damage with it, but it's kind of like your dual blades, where you're just constantly attacking and building up your damage. Elemental is very strong with this, so... One of the reasons why I took a blade that has so much more elemental property than just physical damage.
And it's good with elemental because of the high numbers. Generally, you get about 60% more damage on the element than you do on the base attack power of the weapon. Making this weapon a raw weapon is really not that good an idea. It's much better as a, we'll say, as a pure elemental build. Also, another thing that a lot of people don't recognize about it is because of the attack speed, it's great at putting statuses down on something. Again, like the dual blades. The dual blades damage is far superior, but defensively, this weapon is just second to none. Don't try blocking with the shield too much, though. It doesn't really stop anything. It just takes the damage down a notch, and you're better off dodging and rolling.
But does save you in an emergency if you need it.
Oh, yeah. Now, better your stamina take a hit than you.
I like the music change, how it gets claps going on when you mount. It kind of pushes the bass line a little bit more when you're mounting, I find.
Now that was some high skill level stuff there. He came down from the mount, immediately grappled on with the claw to get a quick attack. Now he would have been stuck down on the ground for at least a second or two. So really he only added an extra couple seconds to his time when he was down on the ground there. But it's better to do as much damage as possible on a knockdown.
It's hard to aim that grapple on the descent sometimes, but very rewarding. So Teostra, as you've seen, has been throwing out these clouds, like I mentioned, and will just blow them up on his own. The big one to worry about is when he does the straight row and then breathes fire on them and blows them up. You can get the blast element status, the burn status, so this is one of those few fights you might want one of the pieces of equipment that gets rid of blights or such on you.
Very, very handy. I'm going to say something about Teostra that's... I keep calling him Teostra because that's what we call him, but something about Teostra that makes him an interesting fight is the fact that he's actually pretty easy, well, case in point, pretty easy to knock down. Got a really good knockdown rate there, and I know you were going for the combo right there and just didn't press the button at the right time. Yeah, you actually won't start the combo unless you press the button at the exact right time.
It's very difficult sometimes to get it precise, and I'm still working it into my repertoire. I find going immediately into the shield block, then backstepping, makes your timing a little easier, but that's a little bit harder to see in action.
Oh, yeah. The reason I think that Teostra is actually one of the easier of all the elders is there isn't really a bad weapon to use against him. Short combo weapons that do lots of damage are great because they'll get knockdowns, and he has a lot of long openings. On top of that, the quick attack weapons, oh, that knockdown into the wall was excellent there. But the quick attack weapons are great against him because they allow you to just keep hitting, keep moving, and you don't really need to stop.
Plus, Toaster's build is interesting. He's got a huge head, making it pretty easy to knock him unconscious. You can smack his legs to knock him over. His tail doesn't have many attacks. It's just the basic double tail swipe you've seen from Diablo and whatnot. But you can cut off the tail. You can do a lot of aerial attacks to break his wings. It's pretty easy to just whittle him down.
And he's actually not too bad with a ranged weapon either. I will say that his attacks don't seem like they do a lot of damage, but the frequency of them. He's always tossing his head or charging or swinging his tail. So as long as you're on the correct side of him and can move around a lot, he's pretty good. I actually prefer fighting him with the heavier weapons like the greatsword, because I find that like he leaves those big openings for you to get your true charge slash off, and it's just so satisfying to see like 1400 damage pop up in the air.
But it's also fun to just whittle him down here, and this is a great match against him. Although I'm dizzy and he's charging up again. Now, you can actually take a lot of damage from the blast. I'm kind of fortunate that I took the fire mantle, and it will protect me from both the burn and the blast. But unless you got a lot of blight resistance or just elemental resistance in general, you might find yourself taking beatings from a poorly timed blast from him or such.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
like this.
That right there is a supernova. And luckily, he waits a fair amount of time after he does it.
And to charge it up, too. You do have a decent opening to select your flash pods and hit him in the face, especially now with Iceborne that almost all the weapons will let you do a slinger while drawn out.
If you're knocked down when he's going for the supernova, you can stay on the ground, but you probably don't have enough time. You will probably stand before that. I would recommend getting up and healing yourself.
I want to say you can block it with the right equipment as well. I don't think it's completely unblockable.
Supernovas and special attacks made by any of the Elder Dragons can only be blocked by using the guard up skill.
Ah, yes.
Specifically, it's a single charge skill. Now, that's not the enhancing guard skill. I'm talking about the one that's it's on a lot. I think Diablos has a couple pieces that has it. Maybe Baroth, I can't remember who. Oh, nice. Yeah, that's the problem with him. You can actually flash pot him. There is another area you can fight him in the Wildspire Wastes, where he will dive into the air. He will attack for a little bit, and then you'll knock him down, he'll get back up, and he'll go to fly away. But he like dives up and moves to a specific pattern and then doubles back, so it's so easy to flash bot him. And if you've got the full stack of flash flies and the flash pods, you will almost always kill him before he ever gets back to his base.
I actually take a second here to watch his flight path, because I did waste a few flash flies the first time there. But look at him, he just soars way up in the air, takes his sweet time turning around, and then...
Yeah, down he comes again. I feel bad about this because he's such a noble creature and you're just absolutely destroying him.
Well, he shouldn't have come here.
Yeah, it's his fault.
Yeah. It's, I blame the commission?
It's the commission's fault. You should take damage from that. That is a heck of a fall.
It really is. And like you were saying in Wildspire Waste, his nest is that same pit Diablos loves, so he will go all the way down there, taking a sweet time flying, so you can repeat the flash fly trickery I just did almost any time he tries going back to his base. It's cheesy but effective.
I will warn people, there is a monster that is, a gem. Do you really earn a gem there?
The very first carve, too.
There is a monster that is related to Teostra, I won't spoil, that you fight later on. And that monster responds in a very interesting way to flash pods. And I'll just say that. We'll probably see it. Maybe you should show it when we get to that fight, because I think everyone would enjoy the revenge.
One of the reasons I don't want Teostra to go back to his nest either, if you recall from the first fight, a lot of his attacks will send the lava flying up in the air. It's an extra environmental thing, and really annoying. It makes some of the later versions of him very difficult. It can do extra damage and if anything just throw off your attacks, but that went pretty smooth.
It did. Your fight was very good. It's a very standard fight against Teostra. He's not difficult, per se. He doesn't have any weird gimmicks outside of the supernova. Everything else that he does is pretty standard. He's just a strong monster who does decent damage and has a couple different blights, and with proper preparation, he's just not that tough.
And he's not like the wind one we just fought, where you don't have opportunities to fight. This one is just a little bit more aggressive, and you have equal opportunity to beat on him.
Yeah, that fight, we actually fought a master rank version of...
Great work, partner.
I want to say it was Valhazak, that's not it.
Deora.
Yeah, Skushala Deora. We fought a upgraded version in master rank, and we had a hard time. I think I actually carded once. It was a mess. Tornadoes everywhere, awful time. We'll never do it again. Actually, we fought it in a special area that you actually can only get to after you've beat Iceborne proper, and we fought it in there, and it kept moving around. It was a problem. I'm not going to get into all of it, but it was not fun.
I'm back with a vengeance.
He's got some severe anime hair.
I was gonna say, like, look at those biceps on his biceps on his biceps kind of thing, like...
Well, one of his arms looked like it's wrapped with, like, bandages. The other one looks like it's wrapped with literal rope. And he's got, like, a spike jammed in there, just in case he has to, I don't know, shank a gyros?
Everyone needs a hobby.
It actually might be a thrown spear. He's Scorpion.
There we go. Get over here.
Yep, he pulls that off. He throws it into your neck. He pulls you over. He gets sued by Konami.
And then just gives you a little hug.
Mm-hmm.
No ifs, ands, or congalalala buts.
I'm sorry, I said Konami. I meant Capcom. We're going to have to censor that later. We don't want Konami to come after us.
It's a bug in his programming, folks. Don't worry, I'll fix it later.
Konami.
Quote, not me.
Okay.
Up, down, left, right, BA, select, start.
She looks so sad.
Well, as you'll see, like, we've beaten 3 Elder Dragons. We've proven we are some tough shit. But she is scared as shit now.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yep, we have possibly found the source of why all these Elder Dragons are freaking the fuck out.
What's wrong?
The end game for the end game.
Indeed. What the old devil's going this time?
You have no choice. You have to deal with it.
As I just stare blankly at him.
You and your partner, huh?
I'll handle things here like I always do, because it would be too difficult to actually help you.
Hey, everybody here is just your support team.
Really? We should just have everyone in Astera in a cheerleader outfit for you?
I honestly wish we saw a few of the other hunters, especially in single player, like come in to help fight, but programming an AI for an actual helper would be a bit of a pain. It's such a good game, I'd rather they put the focus on the single player content and the multiplayer with other players.
They could end up having special events where it's nothing but watching, ooh, look how awesome this other person is fighting.
I want to see monster on monster fights. That's what I would love to see, is like some Coliseum gladiatorial monster on monster. Just have them all rip each other apart. And then you get to do the carves afterwards.
Just pure turf war till they destroy each other, eh?
Mm-hmm. Ooh, special blue quest. Oh, I know what that one is.
Yes. Devil Jahaw.
Any secret guesses for next week's episode?
Oh, I won't spoil anything on it, but suffice to say, the handler is very scared. I also did some work between episodes here, so I got the other mantles for the next one, which includes this one she's about to give us. Every time you beat an Elder Dragon here, go out and get a new mantle.
Very worth doing.
And these are some interesting ones, as we'll see next time, but I'm not going to use them too much yet. But this armor set we get, I like this one. It is quite good for the time.
And there's some special things about this armor that have it actually almost make some skills completely useless. That's the Master's Touch skill. And it is extremely good. I'll wait till you actually show it before I explain what it does. Do like the set too. It's a very regal appearance. Very cool. Like it's almost like a ruby red. It's not just like painted red. It looks like almost like gemstones.
We are the Crimson Dynamo.
And don't forget, Fiona is still Fiona.
That's just a temporary ringer we brought in. And interesting skills on here just to help build up your attack. A lot of latent power if you want to have more slinger stuff and whatnot. Weakness, exploit, like, it's just a good set.
Yeah. Blast attack is probably the worst part of the set, but I mean, the weakness exploit on the gloves and the belt gives you a grand total of full levels, so that's worth it. And blast attack can be handy. So prevents your weapon from losing sharpness during critical hits. This one is incredibly good. You should always be seeing those yellow numbers. You're always attacking the head. So if you attack a monster 80% of the time and you're getting those sort of yellowy numbers saying I am hitting a critical part of this monster, you will not lose sharpness. And on a weapon like the Sword and Shield, that's incredibly strong because it just attacks so fast.
And not having to waste time sharpening or with some weapons watching your attacks become less efficient. Like the gun lance, that would have been a great set of armor to use with it.
Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, I actually think the gun lance will still deplete some of its own. I wonder if that's an interesting question. I actually will have to do a little research on that. Oh, the little squire. I want to know if you hit somebody, you automatically get gold hits whenever you do your shots with the gun lance. So doing those shots, will it actually deplete durability on your weapon if you're using that set?
Those don't count as criticals, they're just base damage, so I'm not sure on that one, but you're right. Worth testing.
We're testing for sure, because yeah, unfortunately, all the smack talk about gun lance in those last episodes.
Yep.
Yeah, but then you play Sword and Shield and you're like, no, I was right by what I said.
And we've taken on all 3 Elder Dragons here, so I hope you join us next time for this deadly challenge coming up.